Hello everyone, this is Ashish and welcome to Infinity Learn JEE YouTube channel. So today in this particular workshop we will be talking about continuity and differentiability, right? They are considered to be two different topics, but trust me, they are interrelated to each other. And from continuity and differentiability you will always find one question coming inside your question paper. And that one question is easy to crack, right? Those 4 marks are there waiting for each one of you to go out there and grab them. So in this particular session I would be talking about the different concepts, different problem that has occurred in the previous year, more precisely 2020 and 21, right? So in this particular session I would be concentrating over these two sessions. I have picked the PYQs, right? Each PYQ will be on different concept, different application based on these two topics, which is continuity and differentiability. So without wasting any more time, let us dive into the world of continuity. Right, so सबसे पहले शेयर कर दो, लाइक कर दो, सब्सक्राइब कर दो, राइट, चैनल को. Now we'll talk about the master classes first of all. Now what are master classes? Master classes is for any aspirant across the nation, no matter he is in class 11th, 12th or a dropper or a repeater student. Now what are these master classes? Now many of the times we have observed that our student faces difficulty in some sub-concept, right, or some part of that particular topic. For example, let's say I am having a trouble as far as PNC is concerned in the topic called as grouping. बाकी सब मेरे को समझ में आता है, मुझे ग्रुपिंग समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, राइट? सो हम लोगों ने क्या किया, हम लोगों ने इस प्रॉब्लम को सॉर्ट आउट करने के लिए मास्टर क्लासेस बनाई हैं. नाउ दीज मास्टर क्लासेस आर दी लाइव सेशन इन विच द इंडियाज टॉप मोस्ट एजुकेटर्स वुड बी ओवर देयर एंड वो उन सब कंसेप्ट्स को तुम्हें समझाएंगे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, लेट्स से यू विल फाइंड अ मास्टर क्लास ऑन ग्रुपिंग. One fine day you will find a master class on finding binomial expansion when the power is a negative index, right? So such kinds of master classes would be there which are on concepts, right? So these master classes are available on our website. Right now we are watching on the YouTube channel. These master classes are available on the website. The website is www.infinitylearn.com, right? Or you can see the description of this particular video. There you will find all the links. So you can visit our website and you can find plenty of live master classes happening each day on physics, chemistry, maths and biology. So as far as you are JEE people, right, so you are interested in only in physics, chemistry and maths. So there are plenty of lectures happening every day, right? So you can watch some lectures today, you can watch tomorrow, you can watch again day after tomorrow. Every day we are going with some new concepts, some new chapters. So that is about the master classes. You can join them. The best part is they are free, right? So you can do as many as master classes you want to do. You can pick your sub concepts, physics, chemistry, maths, and you can enjoy the lectures over there with the educator. Apart from that particular feature, you will also get some test series, 2 mock tests and 12 years PYQs, which is complimentary for every student available over there. So these are the things. So I would advise each one of you, go out there, learn through the master classes and get your concepts 100% clear, right? So now we move on to the our workshop. In this workshop we are talking about the continuity and differentiability. So first of all, time to pick a color for today. So आज थोड़ा white से start करते हैं अपन, right? And then we'll change. सो क्वेश्चन क्या बोल रहा है, आप देखो, कंटिन्यूटी और डिफरेंशियबिलिटी की जब अपन बात करते हैं, सो कंटिन्यूटी का मतलब होता है फंक्शन मेरा कंटिन्यूअस है, मतलब जब मैं ग्राफ बनाऊंगा तो मुझे पेन उठाने का जरूरत नहीं पड़ता है. ऐसे ग्राफ को अपन कंटिन्यूअस बोलते हैं. तो किसी भी पॉइंट पे फंक्शन कंटिन्यूअस है, देन वी से द लेफ्ट हैंड लिमिट एंड द राइट हैंड लिमिट विल बी इक्वल टू द वैल्यू ऑफ द फंक्शन. सो 3 पैरामीटर्स हो गए, लेफ्ट हैंड लिमिट, राइट हैंड लिमिट और वैल्यू ऑफ द फंक्शन. अगर तीनों बराबर आ गए तो फंक्शन कंटिन्यूअस हो जाएगा. नहीं बराबर आए, तीनों में से किसी एक ने भी अगर लोचा किया है, पंगा किया है, तो फंक्शन तुम्हारा डिसकंटिन्यूअस हो जाएगा, चाहे वो लेफ्ट हैंड लिमिट हो, चाहे वो राइट हैंड लिमिट हो, चाहे वो फंक्शन की वैल्यू हो. Now, discontinuities are also of 2 types. One is a removable discontinuity, other one is a non-removable discontinuity. Removable discontinuity are those when your limit exists, which means left hand limit is equal to right hand limit, but the value of function is is not equal to the limit. Now the value of the function can be not equal to it, or there can be another possibility where the value of the function is not given. Left element and right element is given, but the function is not defined at that particular point, right? So if the limit exists, we always say it's a removable. If limit does not exist, we always say it is a non-removable. So simple funda, whenever you have to check removable or non-removable, you have to look for the limit of that function at that particular point. If limit exists, it's removable. Now if limit exists and the value of the function is something else, we call it a isolated point removable discontinuity. Isolated point means the value of the function is something else and the limit is something else. Missing point removable discontinuity is when the limit exists and the value of the function is not defined at that particular point. That's why we say missing point. So missing point is value of the function is not defined. Isolated point is value is defined but it is something else. Non-removable, it's pretty simple. Left hand limit is not equal to right hand limit. I will say it is a non-removable discontinuity, right? So now we have learned how to check the discontinuity and what are the different types of discontinuities. If a function is discontinuous, it will also be non-derivable. Now when I talk about the non-derivable, when can I say a function is non-differentiable or not derivable, right? In simple terms, if there is a unique tangent possible at that particular point. So let's say if I am talking about point A, so if you can draw a unique tangent at point A, then we call it a differentiable function. If I am not being able to draw a unique tangent, then it becomes non-differentiable. Unique tangent means एक tangent. So अगर किसी point पे एक ही tangent आप बना पाओगे तो आप क्या बोलोगे? Differentiable है. नहीं बना पाओगे तो बोलोगे non-differentiable है. Simple सा फंडा है. If I have to check the differentiability, then I have to find out the right hand derivative and the left hand derivative. If both of these values are equal, then I can say the function is derivable at point A. If the function is derivable, it needs to be continuous. And if a function is non-derivable, then I will not be able to comment on the continuity. It can be continuous, it cannot be continuous. For example, mod x, right? Mod x, the graph is a V-shaped graph. Now at x is equal to 0, your function is continuous, but it is not differentiable, right? Because I have a sharp point at 0. And if I have a sharp point, then I can draw multiple tangents passing through that particular point, right? So mod x is one of such example where the function is non-differentiable, yet the function is continuous. So if the function is differentiable, it has to be continuous. If it is non-differentiable, I cannot comment about the continuity of that function. So if the function is non-derivable, I still have to check for the continuity, whether the function is continuous or non-continuous or discontinuous, right? So these are the concept, right? So over here I have the first example, right? So we have already picked the color of the day or color of the beginning of the day, right? So we'll keep on changing in between. So I'm starting with a white. So what does the question say? It's A and B belongs to R, B is not equal to 0, right? So define a function. Function is defined as this for x less than 0, for x larger than 0 it is this. The function is given continuous at x is equal to 0. So if the function is continuous, right, we all know left hand limit, right hand limit and the value of the function would be same. So from here I'll find the left hand limit and the right hand limit. So first of all I am finding out the left hand limit of the function. For left hand limit I will use x less than 0. Over here I see less than 0. So limit x less than 0, 0 minus a sine pi by 2 into x minus 1, right? अब क्या करेंगे अपन? x की वैल्यू को पुट करते हैं 0 माइनस. If I put 0 minus, what is 0 minus? 0 से हल्का सा छोटा, मतलब माइनस का पॉइंट समथिंग समथिंग समथिंग. सो माइनस का पॉइंट 0 समथिंग माइनस 1, ये कितना हो जाएगा? -1 से हल्का सा छोटा इंटू पाई बाई 2. तो ये वैल्यू क्या हो जाएगी? पाई बाई 2, नेगेटिव में पाई बाई 2 से हल्का सा छोटा, राइट? तो ये हो जाएगा मेरा -1 और बाहर क्या है? a. तो मेरा आंसर क्या हो रहा होगा? -a की तरफ टेंड कर रहा होगा, है ना? अंदर वाली वैल्यू मेरी -1 की तरफ टेंड कर रही होगी और ये मेरा a तो -a की तरफ टेंड कर रहा होगा. वाई माइनस साइन? बिकॉज इफ आई पुट 0 दिस एंगल इज अ नेगेटिव एंगल, -π/2 के आसपास का एंगल बन रहा है. फंक्शन की वैल्यू निकाल लो. फंक्शन की वैल्यू कहाँ निकालेंगे? एग्जैक्टली 0 पे. अभी एग्जैक्टली 0 के लिए इक्वालिटी ऊपर वाले में है, तो इसी फंक्शन में x की जगह 0 पुट कर दो. माइनस ही आ रहा है वहां से भी. अब निकालता हूँ राइट हैंड लिमिट. राइट हैंड लिमिट के लिए हम क्या करेंगे? 0 प्लस पे चेक करेंगे, राइट? 0 प्लस पे नीचे वाला फंक्शन होगा. सो लिमिट x tending to 0 plus tan of 2x minus sine of 2x, right. So now if I put x 0 in the expression, this becomes a 0 by 0 expression, right, or 0 by 0 form. So 0 by 0 form, so I am not using any property over here, I am just differentiating it. Differentiating means using the L'Hopital, right, that we have seen in the class of limits. So tan 2x, the derivative would be 2 into sec square 2x minus 2 into cos 2x upon 3bx square, right. Once again, if I put 0, I am still getting 0 by 0 form. I will differentiate it once again. This becomes 6bx, so this becomes 4 sec square 2x into tan 2x, right. So 2 is there, sec square 2x derivative would be 2 into sec 2x, derivative of sec 2x would be sec 2x into tan 2x into 2, right. So I'll have one more 2. This is plus 4 sin 2x, right. So if I put 0, it is still 0 by 0 form. I will differentiate this once again. I will get 6b. Now I will differentiate this. This is 8. So sec square 2x derivative would be 2 sec square 2x tan square 2x into 2 plus 8, right. So sec square 2x into 2 tan 2x, this would be sec square 2x plus 4 into 2 cos 2x, right. Now you put x is equal to 0. So if I put x is equal to 0, this would be 0, this would be 2, right, because sec square 0 would be 1. So this would be 2, 2 into 8 would be 16, 16 plus 8, this would be 24 by 6, so this would be 4 by b. So I got the right hand limit as 4 by b. This is a f of, so this is minus a. So minus a should be equal to 4 by b. So I got a relation from here which says minus ab is equal to 4. So I can say 4 plus ab is nothing but 0, right. So I got the value of ab as minus 4. If I put ab as minus 4, my answer would be 10 plus 4, that is equal to 14. So you can mark your answer as 14 over here, right. So what I have followed in this particular example is left hand limit is equal to right hand limit is equal to the value of the function at that particular point and nothing else. Now over here I have used the L'Hopital. Now when I have seen x cube, I knew that I have to differentiate it thrice, because for the first time x cube will be reduced to x square, second derivative it will be reduced to x, third derivative it will be reduced to a constant. Now instead of L'Hopital I could have used, right, the logics. If you take sin 2x common in the next step, you will get the answer, right. But as I mentioned, I was using the L'Hopital, so I have differentiated it. So now we move on to the next example, right. So I have picked all the 10 examples in this particular session, and all these examples are on different concepts, right. Every question will look completely different from the other one. So now this example, right, box 6 is a function, fx is given as x minus box x, gx is given as 1 minus x plus box x. Now what is hx? Hx is given as minimum of fx comma gx, and domain is given as between minus 2 comma 2, right. Now in this particular example I have to comment about the continuity and differentiability everywhere, right. Now for the continuity and differentiability of the function hx, hx is this. So hx is minimum of fx comma gx. Now let us understand what do we mean by minimum of fx comma gx, right. You will find such kind of function everywhere, right. Minimum of fx comma gx, maximum of fx comma gx, minimum of fx comma gx comma rx, right. So when I say minimum of two values, which means I have to pick the minimum of these two. So now over here it says minimum of these two, right? So not always fx will be minimum than gx, or not always gx will be minimum than fx. So no matter what input you put, let's say if I put the input as 1, so h1 will be equal to minimum of f1 comma g1. So out of f1 and g1, which one is the minimum value would be my answer. So if I put, let's say x is equal to 4 and f4 and g4, which of these will give me a minimum value would be my final output. So it depends upon whether fx is giving you the minimum value for that particular value or gx. So if I draw the graph of fx and gx, right, try to visualize, if I draw the graph of fx and gx, the minimum value will always be the lower one graph. So at any point between fx and gx, let's say if I have to find out the minimum value at 1, so I'll check the value of fx and gx at 1 in the graph. If f1 is below, then f1 will be the minima. If g1 is below, I will say the g1 is the minima. So over here, when I have to find out the minima or maxima, I always have to draw the graph. And if it's maxima, तो ऊपर वाला graph हो जाएगा. If it's minima, तो नीचे वाला graph हो जाएगा. So over here, to find out the hx, I need to find out the graph of fx and gx. What is fx? X minus box 6 is nothing but the fractional part of x. What is this? This is 1 minus x minus box 6. So I can write this as 1 minus fractional part of x, right? So fx is simple. Fx is just the fractional part of x. So I'll draw over here. What is the fractional part of x? Right, this is how we draw fractional part of x. Right, I think this much is enough. Right, so this is how we draw fractional part of x. We have to draw between minus 2 to 2. Okay, so I'll draw on the left hand side as well, right, because the domain is given. Right, so this is my graph of fractional part of x. So yellow represent fx. So now I'll draw gx. Now what is gx? Gx is 1 minus fractional part of x. Now try to understand what is 1 minus fractional part of x. This is fractional part of x. If I multiply with minus 1, so I am defining some rx. Rx is minus fractional part of x. Now try to understand what will happen to this particular graph. So I am multiplying it with minus. So if you multiply with minus, whatever my outcome was before, the outcome will be multiplied with minus 1. So if let's say at 0.5 my answer was 0.5, now at 0.5 my answer would be minus 0.5. If earlier my answer was 0.7, now my answer would be minus 0.7. So I can say if you multiply an equation with a minus sign, your graph will take an image about the x-axis, because previously if the y was positive, now y becomes negative, right? So I have a mirror image over here. So my graph would be like this, like this, like this. That is minus fractional part of x. So I am not drawing it right now, but I am visualizing it. It would be like lines over here, right? So lines would be like this, the slope, right? Now you are adding gx is what? Gx is 1 minus fractional part of x. Try to understand, right, my algorithm. What did I do? I first find out the minus fraction part of x. Now I will find the gx. For gx I have to add 1. So I have to add 1 to every term. So now that graph, if I am adding 1, what will happen? The output will increase by 1. So if for 0.5 in the yellow graph the output was 0.5, for the rx it becomes minus 0.5. Now I am adding 1 to everything. So if I add 1 to everything, basically, right, I am adding 1 to minus fractional part of x. So if the value was 0.7, it becomes minus 0.7. Then if I add, so I will have minus 0.7 plus 1, that is plus 0.3, right? Now see, this is 0.7, so value would be 0.3. If it was 0, it becomes over here y. So this graph, right, rx would be this line over here, right? Now you shift all these points by 1 unit. So this was at 0. If it goes 1 unit, it becomes over here. If it was over here, 1 unit comes over here. So I know Gx. So I am drawing Gx now. Gx would be this. Right? This line shifted 1 units upwards. 1 units upward कैसे शिफ्ट कर रहा हूँ? इस पॉइंट को पकड़ा, 0 में 1 ऐड करोगे 1 पहुंच जाएगा. ये पॉइंट कितना था? -1 को टेंड कर रहा था. 1 ऊपर करोगे यहाँ पहुंच जाएगा. कुछ और पॉइंट बना लो. 0.7, 0.5 वाली वैल्यूज कहाँ पहुंच रही होंगी? राइट. सो नाउ दिस ग्राफ इज पीरियोडिक. ये ऐसा बन रहा होगा, है ना? इसका स्लोप वैसा ही है. दिस इज -2, राइट. ये अपने पास ग्राफ आ गया किसका? fx और gx टुगेदर. नाउ आई हैव टू फाइंड आउट द ग्राफ ऑफ hx. hx का ग्राफ बनाना है -2 से 2 के बीच में मिनिमम. तो क्या होगा? fx और gx में जो छोटी वैल्यू निकालेगा वो मेरा ग्राफ होगा. छोटी वैल्यू मतलब नीचे वाला. अभी देखो -2 पे ब्लू तो ऊपर है और येलो नीचे है. मिनिमा कौन निकाल रहा होगा? येलो वाला. अभी भी मिनिमा येलो वाला ही निकाल रहा होगा इस पॉइंट तक. आफ्टर दिस पॉइंट द ब्लू ग्राफ विल गिव मी मिनिमा. ऑब्जर्व ओवर हियर, येलो ग्राफ इज अबव एंड ब्लू ग्राफ इज नीचे. जो नीचे होगा वही तो मिनिमा निकालेगा, ऊपर वाला तो ऊपर निकाल रहा है. सो नाउ ब्लू ग्राफ विल गिव मी द मिनिमम वैल्यू. राइट गाइस. नाउ आफ्टर दिस -1, once again observe, blue line is ऊपर, yellow line is नीचे. So yellow line will give me the minimum. So now I can shade all the minimum paths. So this curve that I have marked with the green, right, green stripes, this curve is basically your curve of hx, right? So from -2 to this point it will be your yellow graph. After this point to -1 it will be blue, then yellow, then blue, then yellow, then blue, right? These are the lines which have a slope 1 and -1. So I can very well say this point will always lie in between -2 and -1. So the intersection would be -1.5, right? Or -0.5 or 0.5 or 1.5, right? Because we have a symmetry. Or if you want, you can solve it and also find out these points. So I am not interested in the points right now. I am just interested in the continuity and differentiability. Now check the function. Now if I observe the function, what is the continuity? Right, मैं एक बार में पेन से पूरा का पूरा ग्राफ बना सकता हूं तो कंटिन्यूस होगा. जहां पे पेन उठाया मैंने वहां पे डिसकंटिन्यूस हो जाएगा. नाउ ऑब्जर्व, मैं -2 से अपना hx वाला ग्राफ बना रहा हूं. राइट, I have not moved my pen, right? So the function is continuous. So I know the function is continuous over here. Now next क्या है? डिफरेंशियबिलिटी अपन को चेक करनी है. डिफरेंशियबिलिटी में क्या हो जाएगा? शार्प पॉइंट. शार्प पॉइंट अपन को कहां पे मिल रहा है? देखो यहां पे शार्प पॉइंट है. जो मेरे पास शार्प पॉइंट है वो सारे के सारे मेरे पास क्या हो जाएंगे? सारे के सारे नॉन डिफरेंशिएबल पॉइंट्स है. -2 and 2 आर द एंड पॉइंट्स. चेक इन द क्वेश्चन, यू हैव क्लोज ब्रैकेट एट द एंड पॉइंट्स. अगर क्लोज ब्रैकेट्स है मींस दीज पॉइंट्स आर इंक्लूडेड. दीज पॉइंट्स आर इंक्लूडेड मींस द फंक्शन विल बी नॉन डिफरेंशिएबल एट द एंड पॉइंट. सो 2 पॉइंट्स तो ये हो ही जाएंगे अपने पास. अगर ओपन होता तो मैं इन दोनों को काउंट नहीं करता. सो दीज आर द पॉइंट्स वेयर योर hx इज नॉन डिफरेंशिएबल. यस आदित्य, व्हाट हैज हैपेंड टू यू? सर मेंस में बस. आदित्य, इफ यू आस्क मी, राइट, व्हाई टू लुक आफ्टर सेकंड अटेम्प्ट? फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट में भी हो सकता है, राइट? आई कैन गिव यू अ सिंपल एडवाइस. सॉल्व ऑल द पेपर्स ऑफ 2021, एनालाइज द पेपर. जो भी वहां पे कंसेप्ट है बस उतना कर लो, राइट? नेक्स्ट एक हफ्ते में ट्रस्ट मी तुम्हारे जितने नंबर आ रहे थे उससे बहुत ज्यादा नंबर्स तुम निकाल लोगे, बिकॉज दोज आर दी मेन कंसेप्ट. यस, सेकंड अटेम्प्ट में तुम और ज्यादा अच्छे से प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हो और वहां पे तुम अपना स्कोर्स इंक्रीज कर सकते हो. सेकंड अटेम्प्ट्स के लिए आई थिंक वीडियो के स्टार्टिंग में मैंने तुमसे बात किया था अबाउट द मास्टर क्लासेस, right? So go on the website, join the master classes, learn the concept over here. The educators would be there. You can sit and talk in one-to-one conversation that what to do and how to plan the things. Otherwise, if you ask me, for the first session, I would say do all the PYQs of 2021. That is it. It's more than enough because we have a limited time. You can do this much. That would help you a lot, right? Make sure you analyze the paper. Just solving will not help. Analyze every question. If you have not solved anything, you have a solution. Look at the solution. क्या क्या concept है और याद कर लो. अगर समझ नहीं पा रहे तो याद कर लो. ये क्वेश्चन आएगा तो ऐसे ऐसे मुझे करना है. ट्रस्ट मी, उसी में तुम्हारे 30 नंबर से ऊपर के तो मार्क्स बन जाएंगे. राइट आदित्य? राइट. दूसरा, ज्वाइन द मास्टर क्लासेस, सिट ओवर देयर, ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड द कंसेप्ट. वहां पे तुम सर से डिस्कस भी कर सकते हो कि सर मेरा अगला मेंस है, तो अपन इन कंसेप्ट को पहले डिस्कस कर सकते हैं. तो तुम्हारे टीचर्स उन मास्टर क्लासेस में वो सारे कंसेप्ट को डिस्कस कर लेंगे. राइट. एंड ऑल द मास्टर क्लासेस आर फ्री एज वेल. राइट. सो यू डोंट हैव टू वरी अबाउट द फाइनेंशियल पार्ट एज वेल. एंड द एजुकेटर्स आर गुड. सो ज्वाइन द मास्टर क्लासेस. एंड जो मैंने बोला नेक्स्ट सेशन के लिए. राइट. सो नाउ गाइस we'll move on to the next example. ये क्लियर हुआ ना कैसे अपन ने ग्राफ बनाया, and how do we figure out the continuity and differentiability. Differentiability is always the sharp point or the discontinuities. Differentiability at the end points will always be there no matter what function it is. End point, the function is always non-derivable. If you have a closed bracket, which means the points, the end points are always non-derivable. There is no point of arguing or finding out whether the function is non-derivable or not. End point, it is non-derivable. So now we move on to the next example. Right. So next example is also based on the graph. Right. Now this graph is different from the maxima and minima. Right. This graph was being asked in JEE Advanced somewhere 2012-13, and after that a similar or a shorter version of that particular concept has been asked in mains for almost like 2 to 3 times in last 3-4 years. Isliye I have picked this particular example to discuss with you guys. Now let us see what this question says. This question says if f goes from 0 to infinity to 0,3, this is the domain and the codomain, right? Function is defined as maximum, right? So in the previous example I had the minima, so now I had the maximum. So maxima of 2 function or 3 function, but look over here, you don't have 2 functions, you have only one function sin t. So I will explain, right, what do we mean by this function. For 0 to pi, for larger than pi, it's a simple function 2 plus cos x. I have to check continuity, differentiability and stuff like that, right? So I know I can mark the correct option if I can sketch this particular graph, because if I can sketch it, then I know where I have the continuous function, where I have the differentiability. Yes, my dear friend Aditya, kya hua, right? If you call sir 108 times, right? I am not Lord Brahma ki teri wish puri ho jayegi, right? तूने जो पूछा मैं तेरा आंसर क्या कुछ और है तो आस्क मी, राइट, आई विल आंसर. बट वी नीड टू आस्क. अभी देखो क्या है यहाँ पे, अपन बनाएंगे इसका ग्राफ. सबसे पहले ग्राफ बनाने से पहले मुझे फंक्शन समझ में आना चाहिए. फंक्शन है क्या? मैक्सिमम ऑफ साइन टी. ठीक है. अब देखो उसको ध्यान से समझते हैं. अपन ये बोल क्या रहा है, एफ एक्स बोल रहा है find the value of the maxima, right, or the maximum value of sin t when t goes from 0 to x. So if I put, let's say if I put the value of x as, take any number, right, so let's say if I take 1, so I am trying to find the value of f1. So instead of x I have written 1, so what will be, it will be maximum of sin t when t goes from t to 1. So now understand, the value of f1 is the maximum value of sin t when t goes from 0 to 1. So sin t, right, if I put the different values of t in sin will give me different values. Out of those different values, the maximum value would be your output. And what are the values of t that I have to put in? T will be from 0 to 1. So now I'll sketch the graph of sin x first. We all know how does a sin x looks like. कहाँ से कहाँ तक है? 0 से पाए. Right. So now understand. Let's say instead of 1, if I am trying to find out f of pi by 2, right? So f of pi by 2, t becomes 0 to pi by 2. So between 0 to pi by 2, where do you get the maximum value of sin x? At pi by 2 only. So this becomes 1, right? Let's say if I am finding out f pi by 4. So I have to find out the maximum value of sin t when t goes from 0 to pi by 4. 0 is over here, pi by 4 is over here, 0 to pi by 4. So it would be sin pi by 4. So this particular section, I can observe that in this particular section, whatever x you put, your answer would be sin x, because this is an increasing graph. If I say 0 to 30 degrees, where do you get the maximum value? 30 degrees. 0 to 45, 45, 0 to 40, 40, right? So between 0 to t, you will always get the maximum value at t. Now if I find out the f of, let's say, 100 degrees, 100 will come over here. Now between 0 to 100, observe, where do you get the maximum value? You get the maximum value at pi by 2, that is 1. So at 100 also I'll get 1, 101 I get 1, 179 I get 1, because 0 to 179 maximum value will always be at pi by 2. Before pi by 2 the maximum value would be different, right? So now we have understood what do we mean by this maximum of sin t when t goes from 0 to x. It means कि 0 से x में जाने पे sin की वैल्यू मैक्सिमम कब आएगी? तो जब इंक्रीजिंग होगा तब तो मेरे पास उस पॉइंट पे ही आएगी, इंक्रीजिंग के बाद में तो 0 से आगे जाऊंगा 90. अब तुम 0 से 90 के बाद कहीं भी जाओ, 0 से 100, 101, 110, maximum value will always be equal to 1. So now I can write this maxima will be equal to sin x if x is less than equal to pi by 2, and for x larger than pi by 2 maxima is always 1. This is your sin x, right? So now I am drawing the actual graph, right? So 0 to pi, so 0 to pi I will have the graph of sin x. Pi by 2 to pi it will always be 1, right? ये ग्राफ तो आ गया अपने पास. अब पाई के आगे वाला ग्राफ क्या है? 2 प्लस कॉस एक्स. अब पाई से कहां तक बनाना है मुझे? पाई से इनफाइनाइट तक. 2 प्लस कॉस एक्स. ओके, सो 2 प्लस कॉस एक्स का मतलब क्या हुआ? कॉस एक्स का ग्राफ 2 यूनिट ऊपर उठा के लेके आना है अपन को बस, राइट? तो एक बार कॉस एक्स बना लूं यहां पे, ताकि मैं 2 यूनिट ऊपर उसको उठा दूंगा. फिर कॉस एक्स बना लो ताकि तुम्हें दिखता रहेगा कॉस एक्स होता कैसा है. ठीक है, 0 पे यहां से स्टार्ट होता है, पाई बाय 2 पे 0 होता है, यहां -1 होता है. सॉरी, 2 पाई बाय 2 पे नहीं, है ना. 0 पे 1 होगा, पाई बाय 2 पे 0 होगा, पाई पे -1 होगा, 2 पाई पे 1 होगा. ऐसा ग्राफ होगा. अब इस ग्राफ को पाई पे देखो कहाँ है? पाई कॉमा -1. ठीक है, सो पाई कॉमा -1 और 2 पाई पे कहाँ है? राइट, क्योंकि मेरे को पाई से ही चाहिए, पाई से 2 पाई वाला. सो पाई से 2 पाई वाले ग्राफ को 2 यूनिट्स ऊपर लेके आ जाओ, है ना. 2 प्लस कॉस एक्स है मेरा ग्राफ, ये तो कॉस एक्स बनाया मैंने. सो 2 प्लस कॉस एक्स बना रहा हूं. सो इफ आई एड 2 टू दिस, सो पाई पे कितना आ जाएगा? पहले -1 था, एड 2, सो पाई कॉमा 1. सो पाई कॉमा 1 मेरा ग्राफ यहीं से स्टार्ट हो रहा है और फिर ऊपर ऐसा कर्व जाएगा, राइट? और 2 पाई पे 3 आ रहा होगा, है ना. इसमें 2 ऐड कर दो, ठीक है. और उसके बाद तो मेरा 2 प्लस कॉस एक्स वाला ग्राफ है, रिपीट हो जाएगा. ना 2 प्लस कॉस एक्स, आगे वाला ग्राफ वही ऊपर जा रहा है ना, तो आगे तो मेरे को मालूम है कि मेरा ग्राफ कंटिन्यूअस भी है, डिफरेंशिएबल भी है. कॉस एक्स तो कभी कुछ पंगा करता ही नहीं है. सो माय ग्राफ इज ऑलवेज कंटिन्यूअस एंड डिफरेंशिएबल, राइट? So now check between 0 to infinity is my graph. Now 0 is included. I have a close bracket. So 0 I know this is non-derivable. Now first of all we'll check the continuity. It's a continuous. जहां खत्म हो वहीं से मेरा ग्रीन ग्राफ स्टार्ट हो गया है और आगे तो कंटिन्यूस है ही, तो ग्राफ तो पूरा का पूरा कंटिन्यूस है, कोई डाउट ही नहीं उसके अंदर. डिफरेंशिएबिलिटी चेक करते हैं. शार्प पॉइंट कहां दिख रहा है? एक तो ये मेरा कॉर्नर वाला हो गया, सॉरी एंड पॉइंट हो गया. अभी आगे जा रहा हूँ, ये यहाँ पे मेरा कर्व अपना नेचर चेंज कर रहा है ना. कहीं से ब्लू से ग्रीन हो गया, उसके बाद तो पूरा cos x वाला ग्राफ है ना. मैंने आधे ही बनाया, आगे फिर अपना cos x वाली वेव चलेंगी, तो आगे तो कोई डिफरेंशिएबिलिटी का कोई डाउट ही नहीं है. इस पॉइंट की कहानी चेक करनी, बस पाई के ऊपर हो क्या रहा है. सो पाई के ऊपर ये तो स्ट्रेट लाइन थी ना, यहाँ पे इसका स्लोप तो कितना है? dy बाई डी एक्स 0 है. और इस ग्रीन वाली का स्लोप निकाल लो. ग्रीन वाला क्या है? ग्रीन वाला तुम्हारा 2 प्लस कॉस एक्स से आ रहा है. इसको डिफरेंशिएट करो, क्या आएगा? देखो 2 का तो 0 हो गया, कॉस एक्स कितना हो जाएगा? माइनस साइन एक्स. कहाँ चेक कर रहा हूँ डेरिवेबिलिटी? पाई प्लस पे, राइट? तो पाई पे पुट करूंगा, साइन पाई कितना होता है? 0 ही तो होता है. साइन पाई 0, तो यहाँ पे भी dy by dx कितना जा रहा है, राइट किसी भी पॉइंट पे अगर मैं dy by dx की वैल्यू निकालता हूँ और dy by dx पे लिमिट लगा दूँ, राइट हैंड लिमिट और लेफ्ट हैंड लिमिट, सो dy by dx पे अगर आप लिमिट लगाते हो दैट इज बेसिकली और RHD एंड LSD, सो RHD और LSD दोनों सेम आ रहे हैं, मतलब अगर मैं जीरो के पीछे देख रहा हूँ तो स्लोप ऑफ द टेंजेंट जीरो आ रहा है, जीरो के आगे देख रहा हूँ तो भी मेरा स्लोप ऑफ द टेंजेंट जीरो ही आ रहा है, तो उस पॉइंट पे तुम्हारा जो फंक्शन होगा वो डिफरेंशिएबल हो जाएगा, हेंस आई कैन से दिस फंक्शन इज डिफरेंशिएबल एट पॉइंट P बिकॉज LSD एंड RHD बोथ आर सेम, right? What are LSD and RSD? Differentiate the equation and find out the limit of the derivative, not the function, derivative. So function तो differentiable भी हो गया, तो ये तो क्या हो गई, continuous भी है, differentiable भी है, सिवाय इस पॉइंट के, ये इकलौता पॉइंट है जहां फंक्शन तुम्हारा नॉन डिफरेंशिएबल है, ऑप्शन देख लो, राइट? फंक्शन इज कंटिन्यूस एवरीवेयर बट नॉट डिफरेंशिएबल एग्जैक्टली एट वन पॉइंट इन 0, इन्फिनिटी, नो, ओपन ब्रैकेट है यहाँ पे, तो डिफरेंशिएबल एवरीवेयर, ये करेक्ट हो गया, बी कंटिन्यूस तो है बट नॉट डिफरेंशिएबल, बी इज द करेक्ट आंसर, राइट? ए मत मार्क कर देना, क्यों? उसने ओपन ब्रैकेट बनाया है, ओपन ब्रैकेट 0, इन्फिनिटी में तो हमेशा डिफरेंशिएबल है, क्लोज ब्रैकेट 0 में नॉन डिफरेंशिएबल है, कहां पे, 0 पे ही, तो ये गलत हो जाएगा, ये सही है, बी ऑप्शन, राइट? सो नाउ वी कैन मूव ऑन, right? So now it's clear, right, how to make the graphs, maxima, minima of two function or maxima of some function. Similarly, you can also have minima of sin x or cos x when t goes from 0 to something. So now the next example, I have a fx, I have to find the continuity of this function, right? So once again 6a plus b square, a और b निकालना है, continuity के लिए मैं क्या करूंगा, लेफ्ट हैंड लिमिट निकालूंगा, राइट हैंड लिमिट निकालूंगा, फंक्शन की वैल्यू निकालूंगा, तीनों को इक्वेट कर दूंगा, वहां से इक्वेट करूंगा, अपने आप a और b निकलेंगे यहाँ पे। सो देखो फंक्शन की वैल्यू तो सिंपल दे रखी है अपन को, राइट, टेंशन ही नहीं है, बी है, राइट, जीरो पे, तो अब जीरो प्लस पे निकाल लो, एफ जीरो प्लस मतलब राइट हैंड लिमिट निकाल रहा हूँ, सो लिमिट एक्स टेंडिंग टू 0 प्लस ई क्रेज तो पर क्या है, कॉट ऑफ 4x अपॉन कॉट ऑफ 2x, ओके, या तो 0/0 का फॉर्म लगा दो, राइट, सॉरी इन्फिनिटी बाय इन्फिनिटी का, या फिर कॉट इज बेसिकली tan, राइट, रेसिप्रोकल ऑफ tan, सो आई कैन राइट दिस एज लिमिट एक्स टेंडिंग टू 0 प्लस e raised to the power tan 2x upon tan 4x, right? right? देखो याददाश्त अपनी तेज है, tan x upon x कितना होता है, 1 होता है, तो यहाँ पे क्या करूँगा, 4x से मल्टीप्लाई, 4x से डिवाइड, 2x से मल्टीप्लाई, 2x से डिवाइड, सो tan x upon tan 4x, ये 1 हो जाएगा, राइट? tan of something upon something 1 है, tan 2x upon 2x, ये भी 1 हो गया, ये x से x कैंसिल हो गया, 2/4 कितना हो गया, हाफ हो गया, सो e रेज़ टू पावर 1/2 आ गई अपने पास वैल्यू किसकी, f ऑफ 0 प्लस की, ये आ गया एक, f ऑफ 0 आ गया एक। अब क्या निकालना है, लेफ्ट हैंड लिमिट, 0 माइनस पे चेक कर रहा हूँ मैं, 0 माइनस पे अपन क्या करेंगे, 1 प्लस मॉड ऑफ साइन एक्स, बहुत ही बढ़िया क्वेश्चन है, तो अपन ने लास्ट क्लास में डिस्कस किया था ये, है ना? देखो 0 माइनस पे 0 करोगे तो साइन 0 कितना हो जाएगा, 0, मॉड 0 0, ये क्या हो जाएगा, 1 प्लस 0 1, बेस इज टेंडिंग टुवर्ड्स 1, द पावर 3/0 इन्फिनिटी, दिस इज 1 रेज़ टू पावर इन्फिनिटी फॉर्म, एंड रिमेंबर द हैक, 1 रेज़ टू पावर इन्फिनिटी फॉर्म वी हैव डिस्कस्ड इन द लास्ट लेक्चर ऑन लिमिट्स, राइट? So I can write this. Those who don't know, they can watch the PYQ on limit that I have taken yesterday, right? So this would be e raised to the power limit x tending to 0 minus base minus 1, so there is sin x into power, right? कुछ करना ही नहीं है, कैंसिल हो गया है, तो मेरे पास क्या आ गया, e raised to power 3a, this is your f of 0 minus. Now this function needs to be continuous, so if this is continuous, function value, right hand limit, left hand limit, all three of them should be equal. So what do we get, b is equal to e raised to power 1/2 is equal to e raised to power 3a. So from here I can solve and I can say a is equal to 1/6 and b is equal to this. We have to find out the value for 6a plus b square, 6a plus b square. What is 6a? 6a is 1. What is b square? B square is e, right? So 1 plus e is your answer, which is option number C, right? Option number C is 1 plus e, and that is what we got over here, 1 plus e, right? Simple question, left hand limit is equal to right hand limit is equal to the value of the function. Next question, right? Now the next question says I have a function px is a polynomial such that the double derivative is a constant and p3 is given as a 9, fx is continuous at 2, I have to find the value of p5, right? Now try to understand, px is a polynomial and the double derivative of this polynomial is a constant. So if the double derivative is constant, what can I say about the degree of the polynomial, right? The double derivative is constant. If it would have been a linear equation, if I differentiate I get a constant, if I double differentiate I get a 0, right? It says p double dash is always a constant no matter what x I take, right? Which means that this polynomial is not linear, because for linear derivative becomes constant. Quadratic, if you observe quadratic, x square wala term, if you differentiate you get 2x, if you differentiate again you get 2. So quadratic double derivative is always a constant. If I take cubic, then double derivative will give you a linear expression, right? So I know px will be some quadratic, right? So I can say some quadratic, right? इसके roots अपन को पता है? नहीं पता है, ठीक है? So far we don't know anything about this px except the fact that I know that it has to be a quadratic, ठीक है? चलो, so अभी मुझे यहाँ से फंक्शन कंटिन्यूस दे रखा है, कंटिन्यूस दे रखा है तो जो फंक्शन की वैल्यू होगी वही लिमिट की वैल्यू होगी, राइट? So let us write down the limit of this function. So limit x tending to 0, this is px upon sine of x minus 2, right? Now the limit exists, right? Because the function is continuous. So if I put x is equal to 2, sine of 2 minus 2 is sine 0, sine 0 is 0, right? So denominator is 0 and numerator I'll get p2. Now let's say if p2 is 5, let's assume p2 is 5, 5 upon 0 would be not defined. So limit not defined means function is discontinuous, but the question says function is continuous, right? Which means if the function is continuous, then I should have a value of this limit. So px can never have a finite value, p2 will be 0 only, right? Because if p2 is some finite value, this becomes finite value upon 0 which is not defined. So if p2 becomes 0, this becomes a 0 by 0 form. Hence there is a chance or a possibility that I might can get a value of the limit. So p2 is 0. If p2 is 0, then I know this polynomial has one root which is 2, right? So about this quadratic we got to know one root is 2, right? Because p2 is equal to 0 means one of your root is 2. So I can write this quadratic as some x minus 2 into some ax plus b, right? So we'll try to find out what are a and b. So now this is 7, right? So if this is 0 by 0, I can differentiate this. Sorry, p dash x upon sine, this would be cos of x minus 2. Now if I put x is equal to 2, this becomes 1, right? So I'll get p dash 2 upon 1, this is equal to 7. So from here I can say p dash 2 is nothing but equal to 7. Right? So p dash 2 is 7 and I have px over here. So I can differentiate this. What will be the derivative? I am using the product rule. Right? Now if I put 2, I get 2a plus b, this is 0, this is equal to 7. So I got one equation in a and b, which is 2a plus b is equal to 7. So this I have got the limit. What else is given to me? p3 is also given. p3 is given as 9. So now I'll put x as 3 in this. So this becomes 3 minus 2 is 1. So this is 3a plus b is equal to 9. So I got two equations in a and b. I can solve these two equations and find out the values of a and b. So if you subtract, a will be equal to 2 and b will be equal to 3, right? So I got a and b. So if I got a and b, I got px. What is px? X minus 2 into 2x plus 3, right? Now what is px? So I need to find out p5. Okay, so p5, put x is equal to 5. 5 minus 2 is 3. 5 2 is 10, 13. So 39 is my answer, right? Now over here, when I got the root as 2, I factorize this and I said x minus 2 is one factor, the factor would be some ax plus b. Or you can also say the quadratic polynomial will be some ax square plus bx plus c, and then you can put p2 0, right, p3 is 9, and from there also you can solve the parameters and find out the quadratic expression. Once the quadratic is known, you can find out the value of p5, right? Cool. So we have the answer as 39 for this particular example. So now we can move on to the next one. Now the next one, see, fx is given as in terms of mod x, right, is differentiable at every point in the domain. The question says it is differentiable at every point. So as I always say, whenever you find the mod x, box x, fractional part of x, signum x, try to remove them, because once they are removed, you always get a algebraic expression. So over here, I will try to remove the mod x. So what is mod x? Mod x is always positive, right? But I have an inequality over here. So how do I solve the inequality? Mod x is larger than equal to 1. So mod x is my distance from the origin. My distance from the origin is larger than 1. So what can I say? मेरा origin से distance 1 से ज़्यादा है, इसका मतलब मैं या तो 1 के आगे बैठा हूँ या फिर मैं -1 के पीछे बैठा हूँ. So what can I say? This would be equal to mod x if x is larger than equal to 1 or x is less than equal to -1. Mod x less than 1 means my distance from the origin is less than 1. So मैं -1 से 1 के बीच में कहीं घूम रहा हूँगा. This is ax square plus b. So now अब ये करेंगे अपन, आजा भाई, राइट. अब इन x के लिए mod x को ब्रेक कराऊंगा मैं. So if x is larger than 1, which means x is positive, so mod x would be x, right? When x is negative, when x is less than -1 means negative, so mod x would be minus, right? So I have bifurcated these two in two different cases because I know mod x will behave differently when x is larger than 1 or when x is less than 1. Now between -1 to 1, this is a polynomial. So ये तो अपना cute बच्चा है, कुछ भी change नहीं करेगा ये. It will remain like this only, right? So I have got fx simplified without the modulus. We have to comment on what? A and b. So I know fx is differentiable at every point. So let us differentiate this. What is the derivative of 1 by x? -1 by x square. -1 by x, derivative of 1 by x square. I am differentiating everything. Ax square plus b would be 2ax. Right? So I have differentiated the fx. So now I know function is differentiable at every point. So the function is also differentiable at 1. Now check at 1. This will give me the left hand derivative less than 1. This will give me the right hand derivative larger than 1, right? So I know at 1 plus, right? 1 से बड़ा लूँगा, this value would be -1 and this value would be 2a. So I can say 2a needs to be equal to -1. So a needs to be equal to 1 by 2, right? Now at -1 also you can say at -1 if you say this becomes 1, at -1 this becomes -2a. So -2a will be equal to 1. So I'll get a is equal to -half only, right? So I got the value of a. But now the doubt is from where I get the value of b, because the question says you have to find the values of a and b, both of them. So a is how much? 1 -1 by 2. Oh, very well, right? So if a is -1 by 2, see, this is half, this is half, this is 5 by 2, this is -1 by 2. So I know the answer is D. I don't have to solve b, right? So this is observation. If you observe, you can save time, right? Otherwise, we also have a technique to find out the value of b. Don't worry, right? So I just observe the option. I know if a is -half, there is only one option which I have to mark. Now we'll find out the b. How do I find out the b? I have done the differentiability, but I have not checked the continuity, right? The function is differentiable, it has to be continuous as well. So the function, this is the derivative, this is my function, right? So this function needs to be continuous at 1, right? Otherwise the function will not be differentiable. So if x larger than 1, this will give me the right hand limit, and this will give me the left hand derivative for 1. So now I am checking the continuity at x is equal to 1. So for RHL it would be 1, this is equal to LHL, LHL would be a plus b. Now what is this? This is -1 by 2. So b becomes 1 plus 1 by 2. which is equal to 3 by 2. So my answer would be A is equal to minus 1 by 2 and B is equal to 3 by 2. Right? That is my option number D. Right? So अगर थोड़ा सा दिमाग चालू रखेंगे तो टाइम भी बच जाता है, नहीं तो फिर हम B को निकाल भी सकते हैं. कैसे? कंटिन्यूटी से. So whenever you use differentiability, don't miss out on continuity. A function needs to be continuous as well if you are checking the differentiability. Right guys? So we can move on to the next example. Right? So next example is a very wonderful example, purely logical. Right? Over here I would be using the differentiability rule, that is the first principle, or RSD, which says limit h tending to 0 f of x plus h minus fx upon h. This is nothing but f dash of x. Right? Now see this particular question. ध्यान से देखो और समझो इसको, बहुत प्यारा क्वेश्चन है, मेंस में भी आता है, एडवांस में भी आता है, और अगर इस टाइप के क्वेश्चन को तुम सॉल्व कर दोगे तो ट्रस्ट मी, बाकी लोग सॉल्व नहीं कर रहे होंगे तो यू गेट 4 मार्क्स वेयर एवरीबडी इज नॉट गेटिंग 4 मार्क्स. सो रिलेटिव मार्किंग है ना, तुम आगे निकल जाओगे बहुत सारे बच्चों से. अब देखो यहाँ पे क्या है, एफ एक्स माइनस एफ वाई मॉड है, इधर भी मॉड है, मैं यहाँ पे कुछ नहीं कर सकता हूँ, बट मुझे यहाँ क्या दिख रहा है, एफ एक्स माइनस एफ वाई दिख रहा है, यहाँ एक्स माइनस वाई दिख रहा है. यहाँ पे भी देखो ऐसा ही होता है, एफ एक्स माइनस एफ ऑफ समथिंग. राइट? सो ये मेरा एफ ऑफ एक्स प्लस एच है, ये मेरा एफ ऑफ एक्स है. ठीक है, तो एक काम करते हैं, इस क्वेश्चन के अंदर मैं पुट कर देता हूं x को x प्लस एच और y को x. क्यों पुट कर रहा हूं? बिकॉज ये एक्सप्रेशन को मैं सेम बनाने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं. राइट? इसलिए मैंने वो पुट किया है. क्या बन जाएगा? f ऑफ x प्लस एच माइनस एफ एक्स लेस देन इक्वल टू x प्लस एच माइनस एक्स. ये तो x स्क्वायर हो गया. अब मुझे नीचे क्या चाहिए? h चाहिए. तो पूरी इक्वेशन को डिवाइड कर दो मॉड h से. अभी क्या चाहिए? आई नीड लिमिट. लिमिट लगा दो. राइट? लिमिट तो मॉड के अंदर जाएगा, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, लिमिट को दो. राइट? लिमिट यू कैन राइट बिफोर द मॉड और इनसाइड द मॉड. Now this becomes what? Modulus of f dash of x. What does this becomes? 0. Modulus of something is less than equal to 0. Can modulus be less than 0? No, because modulus is always non-negative. So this can never be negative, right? Mod x can never be negative. So for this equation to hold true, I know f dash x has only one possibility, that f dash x is 0. Then only this equation will hold true. If f dash x becomes 7, mod 7 would be 7. 7 is less than equal to 0, no. If f dash x becomes minus 3 mod is 3. 3 is less than equal to 0, no. So the only possibility is that f dash x is equal to 0. If you have calculated f dash x over here, now your job is done. F dash x is 0. So derivative is 0. If derivative is 0, I can say fx is nothing but a constant. Right? Then only the derivative would be 0. Otherwise, how can I say the derivative of function is always 0 when it is a constant? So fx becomes a constant function. So if f0 is equal to 1, right? It's a constant function. F0 is equal to 1. It is given. So at every point, fx would be 1 only. So I know this is my answer. Fx is equal to 1. Right? So fx equal to 0 गलत है, less than गलत है. Take any value of n, can take any value in r. ये भी गलत है. ये सही है, fx is larger than 1 और वो larger than c. 0 में आएगा क्या? 1 ही आएगा बस, और कुछ नहीं आएगा. So घुमा के दे दिया उसने उसको. Right? One more example based on the similar concept, right? First principle. Now this is called this functional equation. Now try to understand. I will follow the same logic that I have followed over here. चाहो तो यहाँ पे रेफरेंस के लिए फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल लिख लो. f dash x क्या होगा? लिमिट h टेंडिंग टू 0 f of x plus h minus fx upon h. So I need to form this. So f of x plus something है, ये रहा x plus something माइनस f of x चाहिए. f of x ले आओ इधर से. क्या हो गया अपने पास? f of y plus xy square plus x2y. So y is basically h over there, right? Now divide by y on both the sides. and put limit. So limit y tending to 0 f of x plus y minus fx upon y is equal to limit y tending to 0 fy upon y plus xy plus x square, right? I have split all the three terms. So now this becomes what? F dash of x and nothing else. This is your first principle. This will be equal to limit y tending to 0 fy upon y plus x into 0 is 0 plus x square. So I just have to find this particular limit where limit y tending to 0, this is fy upon y. Is there anything which is given to me? Yes, limit x tending to 0 fx upon x, right? So instead of x, if I write y, limit y tending to 0 fy upon y is given as 1. So I know f dash x is 1 plus x square. And we have to find out the value of f3, right? Cool. So if I know the f dash x, we will integrate this because I need to find out the fx. Integration of 1 is x, integration of x square is x cubed by 3 plus a constant. Now from where shall I get the constant? Do I have any value over there? No, right? But see over here, I'll give you a simple hack. Y tending to 0 fy by y, this was given as 1. So this limit exists, right? Now if I put y is equal to 0, this becomes 0 and I have a f0 in the numerator. So f0 upon 0 and the limit exists. So the numerator has to be equal to 0. If it's not 0, right, we have discussed, if it's finite, finite upon 0 becomes not defined, whereas we have the value. So I know f of 0 needs to be 0 and nothing else. So now f of 0 is 0. Put 0 over here. This become f of 0, 0, 0, c. f of 0 will be equal to c, but we know f of 0 is equal to 0. So this c is nothing but 0. Right, so this becomes x plus x cubed by 3. Now you put x is equal to 3 because we need to find out the value of 3. So my answer would be 3 plus 9, this is equal to 12. Right? So this is how we can solve the problems on functional equations or the continuity and differentiability. For functional equation, we will always use the first principle of the differentiability. And with this, I think we have came to the end of all the different applications of continuity and differentiability that will be asked inside the examination hall. So I have tried to make sure that I have covered all the concept to enhance and enrich your knowledge about this particular wonderful concept of calculus so that you score plus 4 marks in your exam. Now before we come to the end of this particular session, we'll talk about the Triple R batch, right? Triple R batch is basically for JEE 2022 students only. Aditya, you should listen to me, right? This is something which is useful for you as well. Now in the Triple R batch, this is the package batch that is for the students who are preparing for JEE 2022. Right. Now in this batch, you have the live classes where the teacher will be teaching you every concept of maths, physics and chemistry which are required for mains and advanced. These classes are different from these YouTube live session. YouTube live session, we are over here, these live sessions are different. Triple R batch is on our online portal where all the educators including me would be there teaching you all these concepts. So in these batches, we make sure that we take care of every concept which is required for JEE. Now apart from those live classes, you get these self-learn videos which are the pre-recorded videos as well, right? For example, let's say मैं एक पेज पे पढ़ा रहा हूँ, right? अभी हमारा PNC चल रहा है और तुम्हारे मन में ऐसा आ रहा है कि नहीं यार मैं बायनोमियल रिवाइज कर लेता हूँ फटाफट से, तो मैं आशीष सर का बायनोमियल का वीडियो भी देख सकता हूँ. So those are the self-learn videos, right? Now the self-learn flashcards are for you to remember and memorize all those things that we have to memorize. For example, metallurgy, inorganic chemistry, SP, DF block, maths के फॉर्मूले, फिजिक्स के फॉर्मूले, जो कुछ भी याद करना है, फ्लैश कार्ड्स हमेशा तुम्हारे पास रहेंगे याद करने के लिए, राइट? प्रैक्टिस के लिए तुम्हारे पास प्रैक्टिस टेस्ट है, डेली टेस्ट हैं और तुम्हारे पास RAP TS भी है. सो अगर तुम्हें इस प्रोग्राम के बारे में इफ यू वांट टू हैव मोर इन्फॉर्मेशन, राइट, द लिंक इज infilearn.com/JEE और डिस्क्रिप्शन में तुम्हारे पास सारे के सारे लिंक्स होंगे, चाहे वो मास्टर क्लास का हो, यूट्यूब चैनल का हो, शेयर करने के लिए, सब्सक्राइब करने के लिए, या फिर ट्रिपल आर बैच का भी हो. सो विद दिस वी हैव कम टू दिस एंड ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर सेशन, राइट? एंड थैंक यू so much guys for listening to me and for being here. We'll be meeting tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. once again with some more topics of mathematics. Till then, keep learning with Infinity Learn and enjoy your day.